to eWorld crisscrossing wires, and this is just going to be a little short video on possibly something that may help some of you guys. If you modified your e-bikes by swapping out the controllers and you did it the hardcore way, by not buying a plug-and-play controller, but some type of aftermarket controller where you actually had to do some hardcore hard wiring to your bike. And what I mean by that is just like in the past, my first e-bike, which was a Zugo Rhino Frank, when I upgraded or modded that e-bike, I swapped out the factory controller. And obviously most e-bikes like that, Super 73s, Surons, any type of bike that already comes hooked up, ready to go, is utilizing factory controllers, wire harnesses, etc. So obviously my first mod was adding on a new controller, which was that Hyundai 45 amp controller. Alright, now obviously that controller was not plug and play. I could not just unplug and plug that controller right up to my Zugo wiring system, obviously. So I had to pretty much cut all of my connectors off, like I said, hardwire everything. Now when you do such modifications, anytime you change out a controller, you're always going to have to do the basic wiring, like your hall sensors, your low brake, high brake, and all that for your motor cutoffs. But mainly your phase wires. I'm not going to talk about the little small wiring like headlights and tail lights and all that kind of stuff. The main wires that get your bike running, the on and off accessory ignition wire that powers on your controller. But mainly, like I said, what actually runs your bike, which is going to be the throttle wires and your phase wires. We're not even going to talk about throttle wires right now. Basically just your phase wires and your battery wires. Alright, but still mainly just the phase wires. I have had people tell me that after doing such mods, they were having problems like their motors running hot, etc., controller getting hot. Now some people, even when they do these mods, some people honestly try to do a nice install, and in doing so sometimes they even cut their phase wires a lot shorter than they actually come on the motors. Now what they don't know is a lot of times motor phase wires are pre-measured to a specific length that also aids in giving that motor its impedance, meaning its ohms and everything, when you measure across those phase wires. So if you cut those leads too short possibly, or even extend them, those wires have to be certain lengths to maintain proper impedance, so there's not a big voltage drop across your motor or anything like that. So if you find that your motor is running extremely hot, it could be because of incorrect phase wire lengths and stuff like that. But most of the time it could also be your motor is out of phase with your controller. Now phasing is a big deal and it's not talked about a lot, Most of the time when people buy a controller and reinstall it on their bike, they don't have any issues. They hook up the green to green, the blue to blue, and the yellow to yellow, and everything works fine. However, depending on the controller you purchased and the manufacturer, whoever, whatever company made that controller, a lot of the Chinese manufactured controllers, their phasing may not always be the same as your motor that's on your bike. Meaning, if you wire up those phase wires, color match them, it may not operate, or it may operate, it may not run smoothly, it may jitter, it may not run at all, and it may run hot. Your motor could actually run fine and you think it's all good, but it's running extremely hot. It could be out of phase. Now, this is a motor phasing chart right here that will assist you in changing your phase wires. Those 3 wires, a lot of times they're not going to match up, so you'll have to. Now, me myself, I've done it enough whereas though I don't even need a chart like this. I just know how to switch those wires around and end up with the right combination. But this chart right here will help you if you have that problem, because guys message me and say, hey man, I just hooked up this new controller, I know I got all the wires right, everything is matched up, and my motor's not running, or it's not running right, or it's running in reverse, or it's it's running slow, it's not running smooth. And I tell them your motor may be out of phase. Now, this chart right here is nice because it will guide you. As you can see, this one in the middle right here, that's where you normally start out with the colors matched up, green to green, yellow to yellow, blue to blue. You see right there, let's just say you did that and you were having one of those symptoms as you see mentioned, like your motor was stuck. If it was stuck, you may want to try this combination over here. Now you see they kept the yellow to yellow, but they switched the green and the blue around. Okay, let's say you did that and you were getting noisy rotation. As you can see, you would go to the right and they switched the yellow and put yellow to green, they put green to blue, and they put blue to yellow. All right, now you have to try this chart out, and it will definitely guide you to putting your motor in proper phase. Okay, a lot of times that is all that is. And like I told you, different manufacturers use different phase wire combinations. All right, so at the end of the day, their green to green, blue to blue, yellow to yellow may match up correctly, but their controller may not match up to your motor color correct. All right, so just know that if you swap out your controller, this may be your issue. Now, do you change your hall sensor wires? No, you leave them exactly the same. You are only switching around the motor phase wires. And as you can see, there are different combinations, whereas though down here, like this one, it's not yellow to yellow, it's yellow to green, it's green to yellow, and blue to blue. Use this chart, and that will guide you. You can look this chart up online. It's called the motor phase wire chart. I will go ahead and post this chart in the community section on my page, or you can you know, just go ahead and do a screenshot right here of this one. Do a screenshot of that and blow that up for yourself. But yeah, I just want to put this out there. If you have upgraded your controller or swapped out your controller and it's not running or performing correctly, and you're having one of those symptoms that I was talking about, try this, because colors don't always coordinate between different manufacturers. All right, so reason why I'm bringing this back up, I had did a video on this a while ago. A buddy of mine was just texting me the other day telling me that his motor was running hot. He wanted to put ferro fluid and some heat sinks on it. Bag. Like I said, his motor was overheating. It doesn't have to be that you know, he's running too much power. There's no way you're running too much power if you're using a 45 amp controller on 48 volts, okay, and your motor's overheating. It could very well be his motor is out of phase with his controller, and he needs to get that phasing correct. Now, you know, you can be fooled by your motor running. It will run, but if it's not, you know, in phase, it will not be running efficiently. It will be producing a lot of heat, and that is why it's getting hot, not because it's too much power. All right, not only that, like I told you, some guys, I seen a guy where he cut his motor phase wires because he wanted a nice neat installation, so he cut his motor phase wires really short, and that changed his overall motor impedance, and you know, it was putting a significant voltage drop across his motor, and that's why his motor was heating up, not because he was running too much power. So normally heat is always a sign of inefficiency. If your controller is getting extra hot and you know you're not running an extreme amount of power, there's something else wrong there, you know. All of these controllers should be mounted somewhere where they can breathe, where there's air movement. But you know, if you're only running a little 48 volt system with 40 or 50 amps, there's no way that controller should be getting hot as fire, you know, and burning your fingers, unless you got that you know, somewhere where there's no air movement and it can't breathe. But I mean, under normal conditions, it shouldn't be running hot. If your motor or your controller is getting excessively hot, there's another issue, man. There's another issue. Heat comes from wasted power. Wasted power, you know, that's inefficiency. It's not always you need stator aid and heat sinks. Listen, I'm running 30 kilowatts on my QS273, and I don't have any stator aid or any heat sinks on that motor. That motor can handle that power just fine, not getting hot at all. And you know, like I said before, my motor impedance and all that, I went through a lot to measure those wires, get them right, so my impedance throughout my system is very low, so I don't have those issues like that. But yeah, this could definitely be your issue, motor phasing. All right, y'all, take it easy, take care. You can check out my other video on this. I'll put a link in the description for the other video. All right, peace.